some noise. Come on.
Yo, Roy D&D, thank you, Super Bowl MVP quarterback Nick Foles, the patron saint, the self-dubbed by me, patron saint of the Final Word with MattyB for that rousing introduction. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Final Word here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network, here on our Sunday first episode of the broadcast week. Great to be with you, and the season has been saved. I'm here to report. Yule tidings and glad tidings. Maybe that's what it is. Is it glad tidings, not Yule tidings? Glad tidings. Because you're going to hear it from me here tonight. The season has been saved as a result of the Philadelphia Eagle 31-0 ass whipping of the JV LV Raiders earlier today at Lincoln Financial Field, 31-0. And if you've been checking out or kind of cruising the internet, you'll see that all the homers have now rallied to the cause, because not only are they proclaiming all the Jalen Hurts criticism to be once again invalid, say not valid, but invalid, because of Hurts' performance today against a dreadful football team. And when you hit back with, well, it was the Raiders, you're getting the usual homer speak about, well, you can't control who they play, you just got to play. But what I saw out there today, if the Eagles hadn't blown out the Raiders, if this was a 10-7 type game or a 14-10 type game, then we would really be in trouble. But the fact that they went out there and completely took apart a team that did not belong on the same field as the Philadelphia Eagles, absolutely had no business being on the same field as the Philadelphia Eagles or any other team in the National Football League, with maybe the exception of the New York Giants, Tennessee Titans, and the likes of them in the Raiders. The fact that they went out and they did what they had to do, there is some cause to be hopeful, and there is some cause to be joyous on this Sunday night. But what we're going to do tonight, of course, is sort of present the other side of that picture, and we're going to try to holistically paint what I think is going to be the flavor over the course of the next 3 weeks as we enter the not so difficult portion of our schedule when it comes to our competition and kind of teams that we're going to see at the end of the season, sort of positioning for draft picks, positioning for the future, looking at players that maybe hadn't gotten a look at yet so far this season, and maybe trying to get a look at them for next year. And the 2 games that we got with Washington, you sandwich, of course, in with Buffalo. We'll see how that works out as well. But the season has been saved, and I'm glad I'm here to be the one to report that here on the Final Word with MattyB, because I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be that positive guy to come on here tonight and tell you that the season is saved. So we're definitely going to talk more Eagles, as I'm going to continue on my discussion that I started back on the postgame show. We are going to maybe talk winter meetings if there's time, if time prevents. Winter meetings are over. Phillies made one move. one move with the exception of the Rule 5 draft. And I don't know how you guys are feeling about that, but this offseason is shaping up to be much like the offseason that just was. And that obviously did not yield enough. And that one move for the Phillies, the big splash move, I think, is going to be the signing of Kyle Schwarber. And with the day, as the days continue to sort of evaporate away and no JT Realmuto signing, how do you take that? Is there a negotiation process going on between JT, the Phillies, and a few other teams? Is there numbers being sent back and forth? Is JT mulling over some opportunities from possibly other teams? Because if JT wanted to be here, wouldn't he be here by now? Wouldn't they have been able to sort of dot the I and cross the T on his contract? So I'm wondering where the next move will be for this baseball team. And I hope to God the next move, I hope there is a next move. I don't want to think that this is it, that Kyle Schwarber was the centerpiece of the offseason. And now we're going to bring in the Romeros and the Max Keplers of the world to offset that. So we'll get into some hot stove reporting, if time permits, of course. We'll also talk Flyers, back-to-back shootout losses for the Flyers over the weekend as they fell tonight in Carolina 3-2 in the shootout, 5-2 now in shootout play as they entered the weekend at 5-0 and leave the weekend 5-2. We'll get into some Flyers, I think, maybe. Again, all if time permits. Obviously, the Eagles are going to be the number one topic tonight. And everything else that you've come to grow in love with this program over the years, the Day in Philadelphia Sports History, your Of the Night segment, and your card review, all that tonight. So let's get it going. Let's get it started. Joe Hale's checking in. Joe, how are you? But that reminder, there you go. The phone lines are open. I definitely want to hear from you guys tonight. The link now is populating in all of your social media outlets that we are broadcasting on. So if you want to get on here and deal with me directly, so be it. Come on. All I need to be able to do is talk to you. I don't have to see you if you don't feel comfortable. If you feel comfortable with that, then great. But I don't need it. I just need to be able to talk to you. So hop on board and let's have some fun with what we're going to talk about tonight. So, all right. But before I do anything else, let's check out what's going to happen on the It's a Wrap Sports Network this week. As Joe Hale still saying, hey, everybody. I still have that up there. This week on the network, this is what you got to look forward to. Tomorrow, Steel City pregame, 3:30. Man, they're going to do a 5-hour pregame show. That's dedication, man. They're going to give you 5 hours of Pittsburgh Steelers pregame entertainment. And I love the guys for doing that. So they're going to come on, but no postgame. So no Steel City postgame, just pregame in anticipation of the Steelers Dolphin Monday night game. I will be in there somewhere at 9 o'clock tomorrow night with the final word. Tomorrow, Tuesday, it's the Pittsburgh Sports Tonight program, props, locks, and parlays, and the Flyers, Montreal Canadiens, clear the ice. Wednesday, it's the Pittsburgh Sports Desk along with me. Thursday, the Birds Blast with WIP's Kyle Quinn. I stopped putting 7 o'clock down there because it's just foolish for me to say that every week when we never do it. I don't even know if we ever even actually had or have done a 7 o'clock show all season, but we'll get the time to be determined locked down throughout the week. But Kyle will join me on Thursday at some point and talk about what happened on Sunday or what happened today. And then the Gridiron Weekly Report, the final word with me, and then some Flyers Sabres post-gaming as well. On Friday, the Philly Friday Frenzy with Big Al Zafiri. On Saturday, Flyers Rangers post-game, Eagles Commanders, Birds Flyby. As we're smack dab in the middle of this 3 games and 13-day stretch, the Eagles will prepare for the Washington Commanders and potentially another fool's gold fluffy game on the Eagles schedule as they try to right the ship in 2025. And then on Sunday, we'll get it all rolling back again with the Philly AM Sports pregame Steel City Sunday at 1:30. The Steel City Sunday postgame immediately following the Steelers game, and then me wrapping everything up for your week or starting your week off, depending on how you come out on that coin with the final word. So that's your schedule for the week in advance. That'll be up on our social media outlets tomorrow morning at a very ripe early time of 7 a.m. So if you missed it here, don't worry. It'll be available tomorrow. Oh, what are we at here? Let's go. So I just saw Star Wars prayers for Mahomes. Yes, interesting kind of situation developing out there in Kansas City tonight. The Kansas City Chiefs are done. Finito. Stick a fork in them, man. They are out of the playoffs. 6-7. Or are they 6-8 now? I think they're 6-8. Pat Mahomes goes down with a ACL injury late in the game. He is going to be lost probably through till what? October? Like maybe week 4, week 5 of next year. I mean, if you're kind of gauging this injury in the time frame, it's kind of how Wentz went down, right? Wentz went down around this time when he tore his ACL, and I think he was out to week 3 of the season last year, and then they might have hurried him back a little bit too soon, but at least between 3 and 5 of next year, Pat Mahomes done. And with that, is that the end of the Chiefs dynasty? I mean, I don't know if you can judge it by 1 year, but obviously with the Eagles still in the position that they're in, if they can go out and win the Super Bowl, obviously that would end the Chiefs dynasty, most definitely. But if, say, the Eagles don't win the Super Bowl this year, is the Chiefs dynasty still a thing? We'll have to have that conversation for another day. But Andy Reid going back now, starting to deal with the adversity of what it's like to have Andy Reid as a head coach. Something we know all too well here. And but yeah, you know what? Seriously, man, prayers for Pat Mahomes. He is the greatest quarterback in the NFL. And Did not have a good season. You can maybe blame some of the problems with Kansas City on their wide receiver situation, but definitely did not have a good season. They got to go out and get him some help. They probably also got to move on from Kelsey. There's some changes that Kansas City is probably going to have to make in order to try to stay on top next year, but they're done. Done, son, officially for 2025. Pat Mahomes gone with an ACL, and the Chiefs officially eliminated from playoff competition with their loss tonight. And more importantly for me, man, Mahomes is my fantasy quarterback. I'm going to race to get to first place in my league, and I just lost Mahomes, man. I'm going to roll C.J. Stroud for the rest of the season, man. CJ's been on my bench all year waiting for his opportunity. Even when Mahomes had a bye week, I couldn't play Stroud because he sat on IR forever. But now he's back fully healthy, and I'm going to need him as he's going to be my ride or die until the end of the season with fantasy football. So CJ Stroud being inserted into my starting lineup as of next week. I should hold on and win this week. My competition has one more player left tonight, Justin Jefferson. I'm about 22 points ahead right now. So hopefully I hang on for the win tonight. And we're going to roll with CJ Stroud next week and into the end of the season. God help me. God help me. Why we keep running the same play to Barkley? Star Wars, you're jumping the gun a bit on this conversation and this topic. We're going to get into sort of unraveling this game and what it really means. And I said this on the post game. They went out and they took apart the Raiders. They took them apart like they did not deserve to be on the same field. There's no argument here. I am not going to argue that fact. I will not sit here and try to tell you that the Raiders deserve to be on the same field with the Eagles. But I don't know. I didn't see anything innovative from the Eagle offense today. I saw the same thing that they've been trying to run all season, just that today it worked. As far as Barkley goes, 3.5 yards a carry was still for the most part bottled up, right? And you mentioned running the same play. I don't know. I saw Barkley try to bounce it out wide a few times today. I saw him try to get out there, and he broke a couple of those for about 9, 10, 12-yard gains. But we're missing that home run hit of 2024. Truly missing that. And until we get that back, if we don't get that back, then we're not winning a Super Bowl. I'm going to sit here and tell you that. But I thought the play calling was pretty good today. It was a little. They mixed in the shovel pass nonsense. Even though that's a completion. A 2-yard completion, whatever, but it still worked for a touchdown. Hurts completed 3 passes, he completed 4 passes to the middle of the field today. He has now completed 47 passes to the middle of the field on the season, which has eclipsed his entire total of 2024 when he only did 38. So that's a positive. I mean, they seem to be working the middle of the field a little bit better. But yeah, shovel pass. I mean, it's good to see them get innovative and creative. It is. But once again, and it's going to be an afterthought. People are going to gloss over the fact that it was the Raiders. People are going to give you all kinds of stuff about justifying that it had nothing to do with the opponent or the quality of opponent. When you can see this with your own eyes, the Raiders didn't deserve to be on the same field with the Eagles. Right? Everything that the Eagles did today was gold because of who they were playing against. So I didn't see anything otherworldly. I saw the same thing they've been doing all season. It just worked because of the lesser opponent. And when I say lesser opponent, man, I'm not talking a bad football team. No. I mean, good God, the Raiders are bad. They don't belong in the NFL. The Las Vegas Raiders do not belong in the league. Terrible team. Terrible. So the Eagles won big today, doing what they've been doing all season long, where it's been a struggle for them against anybody else, and today they won big on it. Is it fool's gold? And we'll wait to see the answer to that. Am I accepting guests now? Absolutely. Jump on if you want. It's a bad day to be Santa in Philly. Tomorrow is yes, it is. Tomorrow is the 57th anniversary of the snowball incident. But with that being said, Star Wars, great segue into our day in Philadelphia sports history. Let's strap in, strap on, strap up. Keep your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times. Here we go with our day in Philadelphia sports history. On this day back in 1994, the Phillies signed Greg Jeffries, who hit .342 and .325, respectively, his previous 2 seasons in St. Louis, the 93 and 92 seasons, to the largest contract in franchise history at the time. 4 years, $20 million was the largest contract the Phillies had ever given out to a free agent ever before in 1994. The Jeffrey signing is largely viewed as a bust, and his lack of power at corner outfield position at the dawn of the steroid era would certainly support that viewpoint, but he did hit .292 or higher 3 times in 4 years with the squad, something the likes of Mike Schmidt, Ryan Howard, Jimmy Rollins never accomplished in their day. So Greg Jeffries today signs a massive 4-year, $20 million contract with the Phillies in 1994. Again, is Craig Jeffries the problem, or was the teams he played with the problem? That was some god-awful Phillies baseball back then. God-awful Phillies baseball. So happy Greg Jeffries Day for all you Greg Jeffries fans. Today, he became a Philly in 1997. And that segment was brought to you by the Philly Friday Frenzy, starring our boy Big Al Zafiri every Friday night at 9 p.m. They had the world premiere on Friday night, and I trolled them. I didn't want to. I really tried to hold back, but I just could not. I could not help myself. Listen, I'm never going to tell anybody what to say on this show or on this network. But boy, oh boy, man, you can't watch some of this stuff without just having images of Jim Jones and the People's Temple in your mind, right? I mean, geez Louise, propaganda. I love Al. Al knows I love him. I love everybody here, but boy, oh boy, I cannot. Faith is one thing, and I'll give you that. And I applaud the faith that a lot of the guys still have, especially in the Eagles. It's missing on me. All right, I don't have that faith anymore. I haven't had it for a very long time. But some of the stuff that he was talking about, I was getting a toothache, man. It was so bad. I wonder if they really believe it. That's the question I think I have to all Homer or Homer-like people out there. Do you really believe what you're saying? Or do you feel like you have to say it? Are you being watched by some sort of like Gestapo-like organization? And you have to kind of say these things in order to keep your membership active. I really want to know that, because I just can't understand some of the stuff coming out of their mouths. And Big Al he was shoveling it on Friday, man. He was absolutely shoveling it. And of course, the big conversation was about sitting Jalen Hurts. He said it was asinine to have that conversation. What the hell are you talking about, asinine? It of course was valid. It's still valid. If you ask me, it's still a valid conversation that you should have. He hasn't done anything to restore my confidence in him, right? He still was a game manager today. He didn't do anything elite. So I apologize if if you felt offended by Big Al. I do. If you didn't, then I don't apologize. But I do apologize if you felt offended. I don't want to offend anybody on this network. Wow. Let's take a caller. Joe Hale, what's up, man?
How are you?
I'm well, Joe. How are you today?
I'm good. I noticed something about Jalen Hurts, the play call today.
Yep, play calling.
He had a good long ball, too. Devontae Smith. And after the game, they interviewed AJ Brown and asked him if he was happy. And he goes, a win's a win.
So AJ Brown, Mr. Contentment.
He was content today.
Of course he was. I don't know why. I mean, he only had 2 targets, right? 2 targets, 2 catches, but he did have a touchdown, right? Maybe that's what made him feel happy. He actually said the words, a win's a win.
Yes.
So do you feel that maybe AJ Brown looked at this game a lot like how I'm looking at this game? It was against the Raiders, and that they really should have done what they did, or Or do you think he's saying that because they pulled themselves up by their bootstraps and finally, after 14 weeks, have an identity? I mean, what do you think he meant by that?
They have an identity.
What's the identity?
I love the run by Barkley today. He almost broke it.
Almost ain't good enough, Joe Hale.
Okay.
Joe, he averaged 3.5 yards a carry. He has not been the same way. He's got one big break all season. That was last week against the Chargers. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, though.
Can we talk about the shovel pass for the
touchdown?
Goddard? What did you think of that?
What do I think about the play?
Yes.
I mean, it's great. It's innovative. It's creative. And I know they ran it early in the season, and then they kind of stopped running it for like ever. And then now all of a sudden they're back doing it. Or I think they ran it. It worked, and then they ran it. It didn't work, and then they stopped running it.
And then it worked again.
And then it worked again. Yeah, I mean, listen, I want to be very clear how I feel about this game. Right, Joe?
It's the Raiders.
Joe, and I really can't understate that. I cannot overstate that. Sorry, more. It was the Raiders.
What is people going to say? Buffalo looked terrible today. Completely trashed in the first half. What, they were down 21-0?
Yeah. And then they came back and scored 35 unanswered points.
Well, breaking news, Josh Allen's hurt.
Well, what's the status of Jalen Hurts? Kind of limping off there at the end of the third quarter. Anybody asking about that?
Who was it? One of the beat reporters asked Nick Sirianni at a press conference, and they said he pulled him because of the lead.
Which was smart to do, yeah.
So, can we talk about an Angels quarterback today? I got the 425 game. I got the Seattle Indy game. Rivers looks amazing.
Yeah, I was watching I wasn't watching the game, but I was watching the score changing on that, and I was pretty impressed that Rivers was holding his own in that game.
Yes. Who was it? Michael Parsons torn ACL.
I saw that there was reporting news that they fear it might be a torn ACL. Have they confirmed it?
Yes, he confirmed it on his Twitter.
Yeah.
And one is Devontae Adams is hurt now.
Hey, it's part of the game, and unfortunately, of course, I don't think I ever want to see anybody hurt like that. ACLs suck because there's such a long road back. And Pat Mahomes now is going to deal with it as well. I mean, you're looking at week 3 to 5 of next season before really you should be able to get back out there. Maybe it's earlier for some of the position players, but yeah, man, that's a tough injury to battle back from.
Yes. Game of the week next week, and it's not the Eagles. Green Bay and Chicago.
Yeah.
Well, it's which is weird. It's Saturday night football.
Yep.
That's the 8:00 game.
Joe, do you like Saturday football? You like Saturday NFL football at Christmas time?
Yes. It brings out the holiday. It brings out the football spirit.
It really does, Joe. I agree with that. I was trying to find a word to encapsulate how I feel about that. You're right. It's sort of synonymous with I don't know. You're right. It just brings it out. It just makes sense, right? It's part of it, So
the Eagles got what, 2 Saturday night games this year?
As long as they're the Buffalo, they got their Commanders next week on Saturday. They're playing Buffalo on Sunday.
Is that?
And right now the Commanders are on Sunday, the 4th of January.
They said it could be flexed. Well,
they might flex it, yeah.
They're talking about flexing the Buffalo game to 8:20.
It's going to be a big game. That's the final regular season game at Orchard Park for the Bills.
Yes.
It's going to be a big game. It's going to be a fun game to watch. I will. That's obviously the next game that I'm looking at, of being any sort of merit for the football team of how they do against Buffalo. Obviously, it's going to be the only game that they're going to play against a team that's sniffing the playoffs from this point forward. So I'm going to be interested to see how they react to the Buffalo Bills.
Minnesota game. Hamstring injury for Devontae Adams. It's torn hamstring now.
Yeah, he's done for the year.
I know. I noticed that gives the Eagles. The lines were eliminated today. The lines
The
are
what?
out.
Oh, the
lines-
lines for next week are already out?
The Lions are out of the playoffs if it started today.
Oh, yeah. Lions are out of the playoffs. Start. Yep. Yes, they are. It's interesting how this season is sort of developed, and we're still developing on a lot of different angles. Matter of fact, I was working on the 2026 Eagles schedule because obviously we already know who they're going to play. It's just a matter of finding out when and where or when. And when you're looking at some of the teams they're going to play based on their finish, as if they finish in first place in the NFC East, who they'll play. They'll play the first place team in the NFC South and NFC North next year, whoever that may be. And right now, I think as I was building it, it was Tampa and Green Bay. And it's funny how that is right now. And I just was kind of laughing at myself. So
it's going to be Carolina. Carolina's in first.
Oh, I was building it like 3 hours ago, so I don't know if anybody switched, but it was. My point was Tampa was in first place at that time. They were. It's a log jam in that division right now.
I got you.
So, but
all right,
is that it? We good?
We're good.
You sure?
Yes.
Actually, right now, I'm looking at the NFC South right now. The Buccaneers are in first place. They're tied with Carolina, but they're percentage points ahead of Carolina.
Oh, because they were talking at Carolina as the tiebreaker.
No, Tampa has it right now. Both of them are 7-7, and the Falcons are 5-9, and the Saints are 4-10. So right now, Tampa and Carolina are tied for first, but by percentage or tiebreaker, it's Tampa.
I'll tell you what. Thursday's game this week determines the number 1 seed. Seattle
and the Rams, right?
Yeah. And then it's Carolina and Tampa on Sunday.
Starting to get good, Joe Hale. It's starting to heat up, man.
No, Carolina's in first, 7-6.
7-7, man.
Oh, it's on ESPN, 7-6.
That's what I'm looking at, ESPN.
All right.
All right, Joe. That's enough. See you, Joe Hale. All right. Let's bring on the next caller. Steve, how are you tonight?
Fantastic. First thing, I'm happy for this win, but I am still concerned for the Eagles. I still am. Okay, because with their play calling for this whole entire season was horrendous, and my opinion of tonight's game, the Raiders are a dumb team in the first place. They don't belong in the NFL. Really don't. What I really think is the Eagles really have to be getting better. And I'm worried that if they get to the playoffs, hopefully they do, how well they're going to do in the playoffs. And because with Jaden Hurts, if you watch that last game, not this game, but the last game, he had 5 turnovers and 2 interceptions the last game. And we can't really allow this every single time. So I'm just really concerned for the Eagles.
Actually, he had 4 interceptions and a fumble. That was what his turnover ratio was in the last game. But I feel you, and I agree with what you're saying. And my point with this is real simple, right? Week 1 versus Dallas, today against the Raiders. In all that in between, what have you seen, or what have I seen, or what have any of us seen from this offense that gives you any sort of confidence? Now, today, I'll give it to them. They played this was the first complete game of the entire season, and we're in week 15. I mean, come on, man. Week 15, we had to wait for the first complete game of the year against the Raiders. So that's a problem. All right, that's a problem. This offense has not gotten off. Today was the best effort they had, but really, how good was it? I mean, how good was the offense versus how bad are the Raiders? That's what I'm trying to wade through right now. And I'm trying to give credit where credit's due, but I'm also not going to jump out in front and say everything is fine now because we scored 31 points against the Raiders. I still am not in love with the offensive scheme. I'm still not in love with certain positions they put Jalen Hurts in. I still don't like the fact that the playbook is limited when they run him out there. So, Steve, basically what I'm asking you, and you mentioned it, if they're going to be better, what do you got to see to think that they're going to be better? Like, what you got to see from the offense to believe against the Commanders twice and the Bills? That's what's remaining. What do you want to see in those last 3 games that's going to make you feel better about this offense?
First thing, I'm not worried about the Commanders. I think that would be another easy win for the Eagles somehow.
Yeah.
But for the Bills, that's going to be a little bit tough because they are not good with a potential playoff team. That's what we've been seeing all season long now. And it's like, if you're not good facing a playoff team, then then this is their weakness right now. And something has to change. Something really does. And lots of people are saying, well, follow Kevin Patullo. But that's not going to situate the offense. It's just not. The offense has to be way better than they can be, but they are not. And this is my concern for the Eagles, that if they make it to the playoffs, then what's going to happen? Okay, are they going to have a deep one, or are they just going to be one and done in the playoffs? Because I'm going to tell you this, there's no way that the Eagles will be a top seed. No way. We can get that out right now. Okay, I think the Eagles will be the 2nd seed or the 3rd seed. That's all I'm saying, because look at the LA Rams for a second. They are the 1st seed right now, and they already clinched a playoff spot in the NFC. Not the Eagles, nobody else. So something needs to change for the Eagles. Something really does.
What do you think that is?
Just, they got to play much better. They really do. And if they can play better, that would be great. That really would. But can they be more consistent of playing better and running the ball? It seems that they're not running the ball more often. They're passing the ball. It's like, why every single time you want to pass the ball? You could just run the ball down the field like they did today. Give Barkley the ball like they did today. But they're not doing that every single time. They're wanting to pass the ball. It's like, is passing the ball really going to help them?
I don't know, because we've seen if you put Jalen Hurts in a position where he's got to throw the ball 40 times a game, it's not really going to work out well for them. I don't think Hurts is going to replicate 5 turnovers in one game. That was a little bit of an anomaly. But I do think there needs to be a lot more balance to the offense. And you mentioned it, running the ball. That has been the problem all year. And I mentioned it in the offseason coming into the season that I was concerned that that Barkley wasn't going to be able to replicate what he did in 2024. I don't want him to mirror it. I mean, that was a hell of a season. I didn't expect him to have the same type of season, but I don't think anybody expected him to fall off like this. Whether you want to blame the offensive line, you want to blame Barkley, you want to blame play calling, whatever the case of why he has fallen off. This has been probably the biggest problem with the Eagle offense is they've become a one-dimensional offense. And it's unfortunate because Jalen Hurts is not capable of his skill set to be that kind of quarterback where he's going to win you football games with his arm. He's just not. That's not his type of style. He needs a complement. And yes, today they ran the ball better. Joe Hale was mentioning Barkley ran better, but the numbers don't really tell me that he ran the ball better. 3.5 average per carry. I think last year he was averaging 5.78 yards a carry, and off to an amazing season. This season, I believe for the year, he's still around 3 yards a carry on average for the entire season. I might be even lower than that still. But if they can't figure out the run game, if they can't figure out how to complement the run game in and open up that defense a little bit, and then you're going to put Jalen Hurts in a position to where he has to win you the football game, it's going to be a hairy situation for the Eagles.
It definitely will. And if this really continues into the playoffs, then I'm just going to be blunt honest. We're screwed in the playoffs one way or another. If they can make it, they will.
Let me ask you, with today's game, the 31-0 win with the Raiders, are you feeling better about the Eagles? Are you feeling worse, or are you feeling the same you were before the game?
I'm feeling the same before the game, to be honest. I just am. Because this was just a gimme of a game for the Eagles. Because the Raiders do not belong in the NFL in the
No,
first
they do
place.
not belong in the NFL.
The way
God,
the
they're
Eagles
so
shut
bad.
them out, the last shutout was in 2018.
Yep.
It's like this, and I can tell you this right now, this will not happen again next Saturday. It just won't.
No.
I know it won't. And
No,
it's like,
Commanders will score.
yeah, exactly. But
I agree, Steve. Listen, thanks for chiming in, man. Please do not be a stranger. Every Sunday through Thursday at 9 p.m. We go on the air, so make sure you're here, all right?
I will.
All right, brother. Thank you very much. Got a new caller tonight, man. Steve checking in. Brings interesting questions to bear. How do you feel out there, Philadelphia? Better, worse, or the same that you did before today's game? How do you feel now? Now that the Eagles totally put down the UFL Raiders. Maybe the UFL. Is it the CFL or the UFL where they would fit better? I don't know. I think they would get racked up in the Canadian Football League too. I think they would beat them up there. Would they be all right in the UFL? I said this on a post-game show, and I am not a Raider fan. No stretch of the imagination. But growing up in the era that I grew up in, it was the Raiders, Steelers, and Cowboys. They were the dominant teams in the NFL when I was a little kid. And then the 49ers sort of took their spot in the mantle. The Giants came along, Redskins, and then we moved up into the 90s and all that. But the Raiders were the, silver and black. I still believe the best color uniform combo in all of football. It never should be changed. Their uniforms should never be changed. The solid black jersey and the silver pants, even the white shirt with the silver pants. That's iconic stuff you don't mess around with. You never change those. Just like you would never change the Steelers. It's just what football is. But the commitment to excellence, what has happened to them? I mean, good night. I listen, I know teams go through rough patches and things are bad at times. But this is a franchise that can't figure it out to save their life. It was an embarrassment to the NFL. It was an embarrassment to the National Football League today to watch what happened on that field in Philadelphia. It was a straight up embarrassment. And I'm embarrassed for Pete Carroll. I'm embarrassed for Brock Bowers and Max Crosby. I'm embarrassed for Kenny Pickett. The best thing the Raiders could do right now is take whatever they have on that team that's worth any value and everything. I mean, you take the players, get the roster, you separate the roster into two parts. Players that are worth anything and players that are not worth anything. Probably going to get about 5 or 6 players on the worth anything list, and the rest of them are going to be on the other side. And you move those 5 or 6 players that are worth something, and you move them now. As soon as the trade freeze lifts for the new financial fiscal year of 2026 in the NFL, you start making trades right now. And you try to plus up on draft picks. You blow it up as much as you can. You make it worse than it is. And you just say, we're drafting and we're building this team completely from the draft and hire somebody that can do it. Did Mike Mayock, was he the one who really ruined it for the Raiders? Was he the one who sent them into hell when he was the GM out there? But boy, oh boy, man, I ain't never seen anything like I saw today. I ain't never seen anything like I saw today. An offense that was completely inept. An offense that was completely inept. And a defense that, tried everything they could to try to keep the Eagles in front of them. But that wasn't going to work for 60 minutes. And just a really bad game. A really bad football team are them Raiders. And I do feel that Al Davis is flipping over in his grave right now, wondering what has happened to his beloved Raiders. Oh, man. But good to see new callers. Phone lines are open, everybody, if you want to hop in. Some of you keyboard warriors out there that like to attack me, hop on. Let's have a conversation. Everyone excited to see McKee play. This is about to be a big... No. Yeah, I see the little laughing faces there. I think you know as well as I do Star Wars. And that was really the irony of this game, right? Is all week long you're calling for Tanner McKee, and then he actually gets an opportunity to play. And I had the feeling about maybe midway through the first quarter that you were going to see Tanner McKee at some point in this game. And Anyhow, as works. It hurts completely stinks, or the Eagles blown out the. There was something that was going to happen in this football game that was going to bring in Tanner McKee, and he got in there late in the played the whole fourth quarter. Had one drive that took about 9 minutes off the clock. They failed down there by the goal line, but that was their only time they went for it on fourth down, and they failed. Yeah, it was Tanner time, and it obviously. The conversation, and we're going to sort of pivot away from the football side of this, and we're going to start talking the fan base here in a minute. Go Vikings. Hurt Van Gogh to the Raider. Stars, are you using like a voice thing to type with? Is it Hurts can go to the Raiders? I mean, yeah, that might be I would trade Hurts to the Raiders for like 2 or 3 first-round draft picks. Or Max Crosby. Max Crosby and Brock Bauer right now for Jalen Hurts. Would you do it? Would you do that trade? I would. Absolutely. Hurts go to the Raiders because he's not that good. Star Wars not the biggest Jalen Hurts fan out there. Here he goes. Trade for Bauer. Good job. Loved Hurts in the I formation. I saw that, Joe Hale. There was some creativity to the offense. Yes, Joe, I agree with you. I'm not going to completely sit up here and rag on the Eagles for scoring 31 points, right? They still had to go out and execute, regardless if it was versus the Raiders or whatever other JV team they were going to play. They had to go out there and execute, and they did. But my whole point of this, and my whole point all week long, is going to be what they did today against the Raiders. Does that give you a warm and fuzzy about this team now going forward, right? And what they're going to do against the Commanders next week. Another bottom feeder that's might have checked out already, right? Is that going to give you a warm and fuzzy? Yes, there's the outlier of the Buffalo game. Now, if they go out and beat the Commanders 31-0 next week and then go up to Buffalo and get the break speed off of them, we're right back where we started from with this team, right? We're right back in that whole conversation of, as Steve mentioned, something's got to change. Well, that's a question I've been asking all season long. What is that change? And I get a very common answer when I answer that. Fire the offensive coordinator. Like that's going to do anything, right? Something's got to change for this offense. True. Not if you ask one side of the fan base. They don't want to hear that. But I want to know, what is that change? And this problem with the offense is not indicative to 2025. This is something that's been a problem since 2023, since the one and only all MVP type season of Jalen Hurts in 2022. It's been a problem either through playbook limitations, or it's been a problem with defensive coordinators figuring him out and running like deceptive schemes against him. It's been a problem since 2022. It's just been masked behind a couple things. 2023, everyone talks about the collapse of 23 being the defense's problem. It wasn't necessarily the defense. It was the offense too. They were widely inconsistent in 2023. They were so inconsistent that when we started the 2024 season, 4 games in, with the same result essentially that was going on in 2023 with the offense, they went to an all-running attack with Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley's not having the kind of season he had in 2024 this year. So they're forced to go back with a pass-heavy attack with Jalen Hurts, and now we're back right where we started from in 2023 or through the first 4 games of 2024. And that's not what's frustrating about that. That's not frustrating. It isn't, because you can live with a quarterback's limitations. You can scheme around a quarterback's limitations. You most certainly can. And I thought the Eagles, and I think the Eagles, have done that pretty well for the most part this year, scheming around Jalen Hurts' limitations. Maybe it got a little too conservative, but I think they've given Jalen Hurts what Jalen Hurts needs. And today was another example of that. This was a Jalen Hurts game plan today. And it was the same type of attack they've been running all season long, with the exception of the one design quarterback run that I saw, and then the shovel pass stuff. Other than that, it's been this, and maybe the I formation. right? But for the most part, we've seen the same type of attack. So I'm not going to sit here and rag on Jalen Hurts for doing what he was supposed to do. No, and it's never been the conversation. That's never been my argument with people. I've never argued Jalen Hurts' competencies. Never. Never once have I argued that. Right? I have argued about the glazing. Absolutely. I've argued about the side of the fan base that puts him at a level of play or a level that he's elite. And it really annoys me when they say that Jalen Hurts has won a Super Bowl, that Jalen Hurts has been to the playoffs for 4 times out of his career. It annoys me because Jalen Hurts is not doing this by himself. And I know for a fact, watching this team as intently as I have over the last, 48 years, that it takes a complete effort to either win or lose. And to say that Jalen Hurts is the linchpin to all this team's success is Homer propaganda. 100% Homer propaganda. Jalen Hurts is not that kind of quarterback. The only quarterbacks that I have seen in my life, in my 52 years plus years of life, that could do that to a team have been Joe Montana, Steve Young, Tom Brady, and Patrick Mahomes. They're the only 4 quarterbacks that I have seen that can elevate a team with their play and carry them to heights of excellence. Jalen Hurts is not in that category. He's not even in the category below them, because that category would be the John Elway's, Dan Marino's, Terry Bradshaw's of the world. I would put Jalen in the category below that, in that C group. And Jalen Hurts needs some help. He does. And please stop lumping on the amount of success the Philadelphia Eagles have had onto Jalen Hurts' shoulders. It's unfair to the team. And it shows when people do that, it shows their concern is for Jalen Hurts, not for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's what annoys me the most about it all. It's the name on the front is more important than the name on the back. And then they speak out the other side of their mouth and say all this about Jalen Hurts has done this. Jalen Hurts is a winner. Jalen Hurts is a winner, but so is the other 52 people on that football team and the other coaches that are part of that. And let's not think for a second that the Eagles could not have won the Super Bowl last year without the contributions of Jalen Hurts. We've talked about this in nauseum too. There's 3 main factors that won the Eagles that Super Bowl last year: Saquon Barkley, the defense, and then Hurts. You take away Barkley out of that equation, they're not winning a Super Bowl last year. Take away the defense out of that equation, they're not winning a Super Bowl last year. You take Hurts out of that equation, I think they win the Super Bowl last year. And that's just reality. That's just reality. So it's never been an argument about Jalen Hurts' competencies. He's a very good to above average game managing quarterback. 100%. But he's no stretch of the imagination elite, and he's not a supernatural being that promotes winning. He's part of an organization that has put together, and this upsets me too because I hate Howie, but has put together for the most part some very competent football teams around him. So that's what really annoys me about the whole Jalen Hurts conversation. It's not about his talents as a football player. It's about this misled misconception, misinformation from the homers that he's elite and that he's above criticism. Certainly not above criticism. Hurts is not good. Eagles college. J-League's Hunt stands. We are here. J-League's versus the Chargers. Right. Broncos are going back to the playoffs. They are. Same with the Phillies. Hurts did not win the Super Bowl. He did not win the Super Bowl. He's part of the team that won that Super Bowl. And the 6 sacks and 3 turnovers that the defense produced against Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs went a long way into winning that Super Bowl, Star Wars. But so did the dagger. So did the, the deep balls down the sidelines to AJ. Yeah, so did that. So did the Cooper DeJean pick 6. I mean, it all wove together. And I'm telling you, if you take Jalen Hurts' contributions out of a lot of games last year or out of the entire season, I think they win the Super Bowl. I think they do. I honestly do. But all right. So 31-0. We went over the stat pack on the post game. I'm not going to belabor the point here. I did mention, though, he did complete 4 passes to the middle of the field. 1 was a touchdown on the shovel pass. 47 completed passes to the middle of the field for Jalen Hurts so far this year. 9 more than last year, as he's on his way to setting a new career high of completed passes through the middle. The Eagles did score an opening drive touchdown and a first quarter touchdown today. They have now 7 opening drive touchdowns on the year, 11 first quarter touchdowns. They have definitely changed their fortunes with that this year. That was a problem all last season with the offense, not being able to score early. But they've definitely rectified that. 7's a little low, but 7 out of 15? Yeah, a little less than 50% of the time they're scoring on the opening drive. Yeah, I guess I can live with that. The march to 1,000 penalty yards is still a thing. Now today, a positive, only 3 penalties for 35 yards. How much of that, though, was because of that putrid Las Vegas Raider football team? How much of that really was because of that? Not much pre-snap problems, but how much was that because of the Raiders don't belong on the same field as the Eagles? They've now, though, eclipsed 100 penalties on the season. They are at 100 right now. And they are still averaging over 7 penalties a game. And they have accumulated 753 penalty yards as the march to 1,000 penalty yards is on for the 2025 Philadelphia Eagles. But all in all, you come out of it with a win. As A.J. Brown apparently said, a win's a win's a win. I don't know how I feel about A.J. Brown saying that, but it's a win. And now we could focus up on the Washington Commanders for next week on Saturday, as Joe Hale said. Special Saturday football. It's something special about Saturday football at Christmas time. I remember, and I'll never forget this. I don't know. I've actually gone back through the archives of the NFL and tried to actually find this game. I found it. I found the year and the date, but it escapes me right now. But I remember the game vividly. It was the Jets against the Steelers at Shea Stadium on a Saturday afternoon at Christmas time. And I remember watching the game live. I was probably anywhere between 10 and 8 years old. I don't, for some odd reason, this game has stuck in my mind forever. I don't know why it's there, but it's there. And for some odd reason, it gives me a warm, nostalgic feeling every time I watch it because it was a Saturday game at Christmas. And as Joe Hale said, there's just something, it feels right. You know, it feels right to have Saturday afternoon football at Christmas time. I also remember the game, and I think it was in '88, Eagles and Cardinals out in the desert. The Keith Jackson game where he went off for like 170 yards in receiving. Keith Byers also went off in that game. That was a Saturday night game in about Christmas of '88. I remember that game. You know, that's the Saturday format right before Christmas. It just seems right, man. It seems right. And the Eagles will renew that on Saturday as they play the Commanders and in Washington. As we only have one more home game left, and that is in the finale in 2018, or against the Commanders in January 4th. I say 2018. One more home game left, man. And with our seeding right now as the number 3 seed, they may get a wild card home opener or a home game wild card, but that might be it if they can get further beyond that. So we'll have to wait and see. But 31-0 is your final score. Eagles win, but all is not right. And I don't know if we'll be able to properly gauge whether or not all is right until we get to the playoffs. And that scares me for this fan base because we're going to hear it all the next month. We're back, baby. We beat up on the Raiders, we beat up on the Commanders twice, and we squeaked by, or we just barely lost to the Bills. I'm going to hear about that over the next month, and it's scary because I don't think all is right. Oh man, we don't belong in the NFL. Come on now. Yes, we do. Star Wars is going off the complete deep end here. But all right, let's take a pause. We're going to transition real quick. I think we're just going to do of the night tonight. I think we're going to go right to of the night. We're going to hold off on the hot stove. There wasn't really anything earth-shattering other than what we've already talked about. Pete Alonso is official now. He's an Oriole. Nothing earth-shattering. Again, the Phillies have made their one signing. This is it. I mean, they've made their one signing during the winter meetings, and that's it. It's all quiet's on the Western Front right now for the Phillies. JT Realmuto is still hanging out there. Question is why? Are the Phillies not? Are they pivoting away from him? Is there a negotiation period going on between JT, a bidding war, perhaps between JT, the Phillies, and somebody else? What is holding up the signing of JT Realmuto? I thought he was almost signed, sealed, and delivered. But the Phillies only made one move. One major move so far this offseason, and it was an internal piece. We are 2 months away from the start of spring training, and we are still an incomplete baseball team. So buckle up, Buttercup, on this one. I don't think this is going to be fun. But let's get into the of the night segment here, and let's kind of take this puppy home on this Sunday night. All right, this is the of the night segment. We are going to get back into the Flyer prospect world. We kind of got away from this segment over the course of the last few nights for, I guess, other purposes, but we're back in the Flyers prospects, and tonight we're going to talk about a humdinger here. This guy has been a pain in my ass for the last 2 or 3 years as we're waiting on him to take that next step and be a everyday contributor. He's been a fringe guy, a tweener, but not by definition of a tweener. He's a young player. He's on the rise, allegedly. He shows sprouts of greatness, and then he falls apart and looks very incompetent like he did last night, like he did a couple weeks ago when he had his stick lifted in the Flyer zone, creating an odd man rush or an odd man scoring opportunity. And in general, he just is very inconsistent at the NHL level. And, of course, I'm speaking of the one and the only, the Flyers' Emil Andre. Left-handed defenseman, currently playing for the Phantoms, but he's actually with the Flyers again. He's been with the Flyers for a few weeks now. 5'9", 190 pounds. I honestly, when I was putting this together, I was looking at this. He was a second-round draft pick, man. Good God, dude. He was a second-round pick in 2020, in the COVID year. That's bad. That's the second-round pick we got. That was Chuck Fletcher's second-round draft pick in 2020. Emil Andre. Oof. I don't know, man. I'm starting to realize why we're struggling. Andre plays with high work rate when the puck is close and does whatever he can once he has committed to winning a puck battle. Andre walks the line well to open shooting lanes from the point, using his edges and body in an evasive way. He's got excellent vision from the point and can make great plays to set up his teammates with high danger chances. And as add into this, he's been largely inconsistent at the NHL level. He came up last season when he first had his first major shot with the Flyers and looked like he was the second coming. And then since then, it has been a struggle to even get behind Emil Andre. And some of his play recently is open to hot debate. Some of the mental errors that he's been victim of out in the ice. Last night, I believe it was a bad pass inside of his own zone that created an odd man opportunity that, Ersson had to come up big. And then a couple weeks back, he had his pocket picked as he lost control of a player in his own zone, came up behind him, took the puck away from him, lifted his stick, and created a scoring opportunity that the team cashed in on. Honestly, if this was any team other than the Flyers, I don't think Emil Andre is still playing for the Flyers. You know what I mean? If the Flyers were in any other position that they are in other than what they are right now, I don't think Emil Andre is still here. And you can take that any way you want. Perhaps he's still in the minors. Perhaps he's been traded. But I think Emil Andre is a product of the Flyers in the position that they're in, just desperate for some blue line help. He's a former second-round draft pick. That blows me away that he's a former second-round pick. Another reason why I'm glad Chuck Fletcher's gone. And largely has been inconsistent as he's trying to figure his way out in the NHL. And I think the clock is ticking on Emil Andre and his time with the Flyers. I think this is a put up or shut up year for him. I would not be surprised if he is potentially moved at some point this year as part of a package trade, or that he will not be back with the team next year. So put up or shut up time for Emil Andre. And up to this point, it's been shut up, if you ask me. It hasn't worked up to this point. So there you have it. There's your Flyer prospect of the night, and your of the night segment is complete. That was brought to you by one of our newest shows, the Pittsburgh Sports Tonight program. Not to be confused with the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. They're two separate programs. This show airs on Mondays and Tuesdays at 7. The Pittsburgh Sports Desk airs on 8 o'clock on Wednesdays. They will not be on Monday night as they're dealing with Monday Night Football, but they will be back on Tuesday at 7. Had a great interview last week about the Jerry Sandusky stuff. Made you look at that from a different angle. So make sure you're checking those guys out every Monday and Tuesday, typically at 7 p.m. here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. And that's going to take us, I think, to the end. I don't know if we're going, you know what? Yeah, let's do the card review. I haven't done it in a while. Let's do MattyB's card review. Yeah, I was toying around with not doing it tonight, but you know what? We haven't done it the last couple of nights. Again, because of scheduling. So let's get back into doing it. Tonight, we're going to talk about a card that I cannot find anywhere on the internet. That's right. You know, when I put these segments together, when I pull a card from my collection to bring on the show, I always look for, obviously, I got to pull a graphic, right? I got to pull some history. I got to pull comparisons. You know, how it's sold or how it's been selling. What was the last price it was sold for? What's it being listed for around the internet? I can't find this card anywhere on the internet. I can find variants of it, but not this specific card. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. All in the same thing. Because when you have a card like that, that's low pop, and this is what this card is. It's a low population card. And it's for it's a card of a future Hall of Famer, right? You want to be careful with cards like this. It has selling value. It most definitely does. And you can find a seller for it, but you want to make sure that you get a fair price if you're selling it. And you also want to make sure that the buyer, he gets a fair price. But you don't want to be left holding the bag if this card blows up at some point because of being such a low population baseball card. Now, this card also has a couple things working against it. One, it's a Panini card, which of course is not what you would call the Mount Rushmore of baseball cards. Obviously, Topps is the king, and everything else is secondary. When it comes to Panini, they're a little low on that list, right? Now, this is a refractor. This is an insert card. This is from the 2019 Panini Prism series of cards, and I want to bring it up, but I'll remind you that this is not the exact card I'm about to show you. So this is the closest variant of the card I could find. It's the 2019 Prism Yadier Molina card. Now, this is not the card I'm about to show you, but it's a variant of it. The card I'm going to show you has a red and white border. See where those white lines are, kind of wavy there. And well, this is more of a snake skin pattern that you're about to see in black and white. And this card is also the one I have, is number 19 out of 50. So this is a serial numbered card, which makes it very, which kind of adds to the value of the baseball card. And again, I could not find this exact card that I'm about to show you, not the card I'm showing you, but the card I'm about to show you. I could not find it on the internet. But again, it's a good thing and a bad thing, especially for a player like Molina, who is a future Hall of Famer, one of the best catchers ever to play the game. I actually also have his 2004 Topps rookie card. The only problem with that card is it's a base card, right? There's variants of that card rolling around that are very valuable right now. I've still seen the rookie card listed for about $800. But we got to wait to see if he makes the Hall of Fame or when he makes it. Oh, and by the way, Chase Utley, over 50% of the votes so far for baseball, for the Baseball Hall of Fame this year. Go Chase, go. But yeah, so Yadier Molina is a very valuable prospect and property to hold on to. If you come across Molina cards, put them away because he will eventually, very soon, make it into the Hall of Fame. And this is a card that I'm holding on to, but I'm not. I'm actually trying to move it right now, but I just want to kind of see what I get from it. Here's the card that I have. As you can see, it's got that snakeskin black and white on the borders there on the side. On the back, it is the serial number right there. It's kind of on the lower, right there by my finger where I'm tapping. It's ninth there. You can kind of see it kind of reflect right there. 19 of 50. So it's a low population baseball card from 2019 Panini Prism. Again, it's a Panini. They're not going to break the bank when it comes to baseball cards. They're just not like those type of cards. But this is a low population future Hall of Famers serial numbered baseball card. So I like it for that reason. If it was a regular Panini, I'd be like, yeah, to hell with it. But it's still a Yadier Molina, and I would keep it. But this card intrigues me. It's one of the more intriguing cards that I have in my set or my collection because there's such an unknown about it. I literally have not been able to find anything on it. And that's cool. You know, it's cool to have a card like that. But there you have it. One of the most intriguing cards that I have in my baseball set. 2019 Yadier Molina Prism Panini 19 of 50 baseball card. And there you have Matty B's sports card review segment for the night. And that is going to take me to the end of the show. Eagles are big time winners, 31-0. I don't feel any better. I don't feel any different. I feel the same way as I did going into this game against the Raiders. I need to see more against better competition, a lot better competition. And it's going to be a common theme. The homers are going to try to talk you off that ledge. Be ready. Be weary for it. The homers are going to come after you and tell you your takes don't mean anything because they beat the Raiders. Don't fall for it. The Raiders are a second, maybe a third-class football team. They don't belong in the NFL. The Eagles did what they were supposed to do, but they didn't show me anything different than what I've seen all season long. They just did it effectively against a low-rent football team. Bottom line. So keep the faith, fight on, and we'll see what we do on Saturday against the Commanders. Once again, here's the schedule for the It's a Wrap Sports Network this week. Full boat starting tomorrow and rolling all the way to next Sunday. Make sure that you check the local listings in your time zone. This schedule will be available on our social media websites, Facebook, Twitter, X. So the same things. Facebook, X. Was it Twitch? No, we don't do Twitch. Do we TikTok? Yeah, we do TikTok, Instagram. It'll be available there tomorrow morning at around 7 o'clock. So it'll pop up and for you to refer to for the rest of the week. Make sure you're checking back daily to see all the funness here and all the positivity. We didn't take a positivity pledge on the network this week. I banned those things. Those things are not available to be taken here. Positivity pledge. Get the hell out of here. All right. We'll talk tomorrow night. I will be back tomorrow. And then no show Tuesday. I'll be back Wednesday and Thursday. So we're not going to have a show on Tuesday, but we'll have shows the rest of the week. Until I see you guys again, enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. Have a great first day of your work week. We'll talk tomorrow night. See ya.